Right now, over in Mexico, a cartel war has started. It's gigantic, massive. The United States military is involved. They have, behind the scenes, I've been telling you for a long time, the United States has been training the Mexico Special Forces. They've been training the military up in Colorado. They've been running these operations for a long time. Now, as you know, one of the first people, there was a few of us who told you a long time ago, 2018, 19, before anybody was said, Trump's going to go after the cartels. He's going to bring down this whole gigantic, huge empire connected to the deep state, the financial systems, this huge, gigantic, dark force entity that controls the drug trade, human trafficking into the United States, among other things. So now all of that is proven right. Operations connected to the Pentagon, they were running satellites. They had a few operative special forces that's working with Mexico. They took out and assassinated El Mencho. This is the biggest violent gang that's over in Mexico right now. You know, the new generation cartel. People call them the CJNC, the Jalisco New Generation. And so this happened just a few hours ago. The military operations with Mexico, they assassinate, take out the big, gigantic head. Now, all of a sudden, chaos erupts, and these guys are burning down schools. There's schools on fires, apartment buildings. When you look at the videos, the whole city is almost covered in smoke with hundreds of different fires burning. They burned down the school bus system, transportation system, government buildings, and they're shooting in the streets, and they're just killing people. From what I hear is hundreds and hundreds of people have already been shot. Hospitals are absolutely flooded. From what I'm hearing right now, at this moment, they're burning some airplanes. The airports have shut down. Different countries, including Canada, have stopped all of their flights coming into this region inside of Mexico. And it's just gigantic. We're hearing huge reports that already over 100 people have been killed. And maybe the next days as this carries on, it might be a lot more people. It might include the military, including the drug cartels, including civilians. So this is all erupting. It's gigantic what's happening, as the cartels know that the United States military is directly involved. Now, Claudia Sheinbaum, the past hour, is talking with the Pentagon, and she's talking with Trump, and she's asking for help, and she's asking for assistance. This is the lady that didn't want any help at all. So now there's direct communications, and she's asking Trump for help. And what I'm hearing is that there are flights running that way. They're going to run all of these different operations to see where all the cartels are base located at. Then they're going to run all these transmissions to see all the cartels, because they've been tracking them already for years, especially the past year. You've heard that the CIA, the Pentagon, all the military operations by inside of New Mexico, Arizona, they have all of these satellites, powerful drones. They have United States military, very powerful systems that can collect all the data, all the information. That's their computers, their cell phones, their systems, their own little sats, the things that they're using with Starlink. The military can track absolutely everybody kind of where they're at, who they are, where they live at. So now Claudia Sheinbaum is asking Trump directly for help. That's because that goes into the United States archives, that the United States can decide to issue help if they need to. So this is really big what's happening, because it's much bigger than you can imagine, because it leads over to Satanism. It's connected back to Jeffrey Epstein. It's connected back to this dark web of this huge, gigantic, globalist, dark, super dark operations. I was telling you for a long time that Jeffrey Epstein is just not about, pedo stuff, trafficking stuff. It's much bigger than that. He's controlling different countries, and he was controlling the GDP. He was controlling the markets, the financial systems. He had this huge, gigantic network that he was running with Mossad, Israeli banking operations connected, of course, to the usual. That's the CIA, the MI6, the Davos operations, globalist operations, the old Jesuits. So Mexico is inside of this huge, gigantic, satanic operations with all of these kids that are missing from South America, Middle America, coming into Mexico. And then those operations of what they're doing, because it's connected to the same thing. It connects over to organ harvesting. It connects over to the blood, whether it's the plasma blood, taking out the blood legally, transferring that over to Switzerland, transferring that over to Europe and getting it refined legally. But the darker stuff is how that later on that's processed into adrenal also in the world. So the reason why we're talking about this is because these operations that's connected over to really the dark United States military operations of the deep state, who created the drug trade, who created the world human trafficking trade with the deep state operations. This huge, gigantic stuff is connected to this powerful cartel, this new generation that they call them from Jalisco 5, because inside of this very important cartels, the heads, the people that is running all of the street people, the lower cartels, the foot soldiers, they're all coming from the special forces. They're all coming from inside of Mexico. They're coming from the Mexican military operations. Some say they're retired, some say they're ex-soldiers, some are still active. They're running with the military intelligence where they get information directly, whether it's from the CIA, whether it's from different parts from Colombia, Venezuela, connected to Cuba, where they're getting intelligence, or directly from inside of Mexico, from inside the deep state military, the bad side. And what's happening is this new generation cartels, you can find this even in Google. Even mainstream media is talking about this directly. This it's really dark stuff, but they're into cannibalism. Now you're hearing about this everywhere. The Epstein stuff. It's so dark and it's so gross. It's the stuff that I see when I'm looking myself. I'm looking at the files myself, inside the government files. It's absolutely dark, man. It's so dark that I'll just, I just try to give you just enough information. I don't want to share videos. You can find all that everywhere on the internet. But I'm telling you, this certain gang, they're absolutely connected to Satanism. That's part of their initiation to show that they're loyalists. They have to kill someone, they have to butcher them, and then they have to eat them, and that's how they're initiated. And this is even what Google is talking about inside of Wikipedia. That's amazing that even Google is talking about this, that this certain gangs is into cannibalism. So this is huge, you guys. You guys are seeing how big the swamp is. Trump to clean the swamp, the United States military to clean these operations of the swamp. It's much bigger than what humans could have even possibly thought it was. And people are in shock even today. People are absolutely in shock about this really, really dark stuff. You have Epstein that's talking to Woody Allen, and they're talking about eating babies, Woody Allen saying that he likes to grind up the bones of the little baby, and he eats that because he doesn't like it to go to waste, any part of the baby. And Epstein saying, yeah, that's good, that's good for the nutrients that comes from the bones. So this stuff is even darker. There's so much stuff that I'm looking for, because I'm looking for other things that's in there connected to the prison systems. I'm in there looking for different stuff connected to certain prisons. And it's super dark, man. So this is what's happening right now in Mexico. There's major panic inside of Mexico on the deep state side, connected to the cartels, connected to the military, because Trump, the military, is coming in to stop this huge, gigantic operations. That's the drug trade, human trafficking, the money laundering operations, all of these huge things, including the satanic operations. That's what's really happening. So this Epstein stuff, you're seeing it. It's affecting the world. It's affecting countries. It's affecting even royal families, all the way up into Norway, all the way up into UK. Arrests have already been happening, already made. Investigations are growing. There's so much stuff happening in the UK that's bigger than the stuff that you're seeing inside of the news reports. There's other massive arrests that's already shaken, already taken place. And I was already talking about that last year, that things were already happening behind the scenes. That's huge. So getting back to this subject, it's gigantic. It's absolutely huge. And it's, I try to get some rest. I'm trying to be with my dogs to give them this beautiful day of a long walk. And I thought, okay, I have this video I have to edit today. I'm working on this video about DARPA, how that's captured by the military operations. This is for the gold members. Eventually, the silver members, you guys will have access to that video eventually. But I wanted to bring this out for the gold members today. It takes a lot of time editing. And I want to talk about all of this stuff, about DARPA, time travel, what's really happening, the papers, the information already out on public, on warp drives, the reason why they're doing this, why it's happening, why this disclosure stuff is happening, all of these things. And I'm doing a huge piece on that. Anyways, I wanted to finish editing that video, but this is just big. I'm trying to get some rest. I have some work to do with my other channel, just my other spiritual channel. So that's my Sunday's work. But this is gigantic, looking at this the past hour and a half, getting all the wires to intel, what's happening inside of Mexico. This is growing. Right now, in the past 30 minutes, what happened over inside of Mexico, the gang, they put a huge report out into the city to tell everybody, stay indoors, go home. If you're at work, everybody go home. If anybody's in the streets, we're going to kill you. We're going to kill everyone. This is what they're reporting. And it's so awful, these videos that you see, the panorama camera, how it's showing everything. The whole city is dark. It's growing, it's on fire. Now they're also asking, they want two things that this gang, these cartels, the most violent cartels, they say, that's in Mexico right now. There's two things that they want. First of all, they want El Mencho. They want his body returned. The second thing that they want is they want all the police officers, the Mexican police officers involved, and the United States military that was involved. They want all of them. Or else they're going to blow up the whole area. They have different weapons, bombs, whatever they're planning. They said, we're going to make everything worse than you can imagine. And they gave the United States, they gave Mexico a timeline of 3 hours to bring in everything. So you can imagine that, in the next few hours of what's really going to happen. And It's gigantic. They're saying this Epstein really affects stuff because there's panic from inside the cartels that their satanic operations is going to be revealed to the Mexican people. A huge, gigantic mass awakening that Mexico, the good Mexican people, couldn't believe in their mind. They thought it's just conspiracy that, okay, it cannot be true that these people inside the cartels, organizations connected to the government, that they're eating babies, that they're eating humans, that there's cannibalism going on. This can't be true. It can't be true. It was just a conspiracy inside of Mexico. So there's panic from the cartels that now everything's going to be exposed through Epstein. There's already leaks going on through Mexico. Who's involved inside the government sectors, inside of the military, inside of the cartels. There's so much conspiracies that's just been running inside of Mexico. Now all of this is coming out and people are really, really scared because eventually what's going to happen is what you're seeing in Mexico, all this happening really, really quickly within a few hours, to see a whole city collapse and the whole state of Helsinki, the whole state, over 21 highways now it's being reported, they're all shut off. All the flights coming, everything is shut off. Government buildings, everything has been shut off. Things are burning, like I said. And they're controlling the whole state. Like I said, they shut off all the highways. So to see something like this happen within a few hours, you're looking at what could happen inside of El Paso, Texas, what could happen inside of these different places, even connected to San Diego, different places, because they have the sleeper cells inside of the United States. They have a lot of stuff. We're talking about over 300 million people inside of the United States. And the military trying as best as they can for the past 2 years, running military operations through the United States. There's so much different. When you hear about these exercises, what's going on the East Coast, military East Coast, they're doing urban combat training, they're doing all of these things. They're not really exercises. They're actually going in at nighttime into different parts of the city. They've been arresting so many people. This operations has been happening almost for 2 years. Plain clothed military operations where they're coming in almost like a SWAT team. They're mimicking SWAT teams. They don't even have, even a lot of them, they don't even have police uniforms, and they're just going into cities, 3 or 4 of them, just going directly in and grabbing people, just grabbing them. Tick, 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 tick. What you're watching now, it's really big. Scheinbaum, Claudia, asking Trump for help. The Pentagon this week is going to start creating some kind of a plan that they'll leak to the government. What's really happening behind the scenes, it's much bigger. It's gigantic. You have real military operators. Some people are on the net. A lot of them is mainly on in the deep web. They're talking about this thing I've been telling everybody about for a long time. Q was talking about this for a long time. You're watching a show. Just because you're watching a show, it doesn't mean though that that it's going to be fun and games, eat your popcorn, everything's going to be cool. It's not really like that. When you're watching a show, sometimes it's a real life show and it can absolutely be scary. What I'm trying to tell you is that from Derek Johnson, even from the military, even from me telling you for a long time, United States is inside a continuity of government. But it's a lot more than that. It's a continuity of the military operations running the government. This is happening behind the scenes. Most people don't even know that this is actually happening, that everything was kind of in stages and place. Trump coming into power, giving power executive orders over to the military, signing all of these secret executive orders to give them full military power. That's why a lot of people keep trying to tell you, there's 45 and the Trump hat, that 45 and then 46 and then 47, but there's no 46, it just has a slash. And people are talking about the military operations under that, the meaning, what it means. Everybody constantly talks about this in the military. But what's really known to a lot of people directly inside of military commands is that United States military right now, it's getting closer for all of these operations to come out into the public, So the whole thing is kind of like a little bit of a stage as we hear about the coup, the election stuff. We're just at the beginning of this. This is heating up and it's going to move really, really quick. This stuff having to do with cartels is all going to connect to that stuff. This stuff with the Epstein stuff, with the human eating stuff, cannibalism, that's huge, gigantic. It's also connected with the cartels. It's also connected to these different operations. Everything is all coming together for the world to see it, the world to actually know what's happening. And that when that happens, then you're going to see the real truth, where Trump keeps saying, like, the world's going to know the truth. And that truth is that inside the United States, military operations was already happening underneath continuity of government, continuity of military government operations happening. But the disclosure operations behind that is coming slowly. So we're inside a huge, gigantic mess. We're inside a huge, gigantic war that's happening that you can see it. You're hearing about Trump, another assassination attempt that happened, of the shooting that happened inside of Mar-a-Lago today, where all of that's going to head. You're talking about this country that's next to the United States that is so corrupt is connected to cannibalism, human trafficking. The whole shebang, the whole dark, deep state, just this huge, gigantic cabal operations, it's collapsing. And you're seeing this massive, gigantic collapse that's happening, you guys. And as this goes forward, Trump is definitely going to run the operations of letting people know that, the military is going to take control. We're going to head towards these powerful events of tribunals. Mexico is going to head towards those powerful events of tribunals. And this is where we are. And I don't have words because my mind is just jumping. It's jumping because it's devastating. I have friends in Mexico. I travel there often, living in the United States. I go to ceremonies along the border. I go to Guadalajara, different regions. I have friends down in that area. But just to know, just as a human, to know that this is absolutely happening, you guys, that it's really dark, it's really sad, and it's not easy, what the United States military is doing, what the United States is doing behind the scenes, because soldiers are going to be involved to help throughout the world, a lot of different operations, and they're putting themselves in this harm's way to stop this huge, gigantic, dark stuff that's happening. And I heard this before, and I think this saying is like, if you want peace, if you want real peace, you have to prepare for war. And that might be a dark thing, because people say, well, why can't we just do this? Let's just do this. Why? It's just easier. Let's just do this. Let's just do this. It doesn't work like that, It doesn't work like that. it's like kind of even the same thing for someone that's, say someone that kind of lost themselves, they're a hard drug addict and they can't come out of it and they're inside of it for years with alcohol, someone that is dark inside of it, even that, if you want peace, you have to prepare for war, and it's a hard pain. A lot of things happen. You have to go through these powerful, strong moments to fight for your spirit, to fight for your mind, to clean yourself. That energy can be devastating to people when they're trying to fix themselves. And some people will hurt themselves, eliminate themselves, and just create chaos in their family. And it's kind of like that on a global scale, this energy, fixing the world. If you want peace, prepare for war. And that's why I kept telling you, United States military, the Pentagon, the Department of Defense is no longer in a defensive stance. Now they're going directly after the cabal operations in all of these countries. What's happening in Iran? These operations connected to the Middle East. What's really happening behind the scenes is they're also going after the pedo operations to stop these different operations. Trump has already, like I said in the last week's video, he's already reached out to the Middle East all the way to Afghanistan, Pakistan, countries in the Middle East, that these are the operations that they're going to go after next. They're going to stop all of these pedo operations, this human trafficking operations, because that's connected to satanic operations. It's just gigantic, and we're inside of this moment, and it's really dark, and a little bit it can be kind of scary. When we're talking about Satanism, we're talking about this powerful, powerful, dark energy. And it's really dark, not to scare people, but this is by the FBI's own dissemination. Well, what they have. How can I say this? But to get to the point, inside of California to almost every major city across the world, there are kill sites every 10 miles to where they kill people, whether it's for assaulting someone, torture, or else bloodletting, what they're doing with children. But this is freaking everywhere, man. It's just gigantic. And that's what's going to be later disclosed inside of operations when people talk about aliens, when people talk about all of these different things. It's huge, the disclosure projects. And I don't want to really get into that because it's a gigantic story. Eventually, that's where everything's going to go to in 2030. That's why I said there's a powerful operations that's even bigger for the Great Awakening. It's just gigantic, but just to let you guys in on a small little thing, there are really dark deities, demons, ghosts, aliens. There's a dark side of that that's connected to what's happening with the satanic operations. What people call Satan, what people call these demons, devils, these different interdimensional spirits. This is what's attacking the world. And there's a profound hand of God that is inside of this energy, inside of this Great Awakening to help the world. This is what we've been talking about. This is what's going to happen, you guys. This is what the Q operations are about. We're going to save the children. We're going to save the world. There's operations moving. There's things that's connected to Roswell. There's things that's connected to your DNA. There's things that's connected, to God. There's things that are connected to things that is going to be miraculous, powerful events inside of these operations. And I try to give you the information, in certain videos talking about, the last video, what was going on with these operations in 2012, what really happened with CERN, then what came into the atmosphere, into the earth, that plasma living light, and how that went to over to Alaska, or that being, that spirit, then what's happening with all of this stuff. And then CERN shuts down after 2012, then CERN shuts down for 20 months. Then slowly military operations, there's a lot of stuff that happened underneath CERN. But that's all captured, all of those operations now. So this is really big. It's gigantic. But my thoughts are with all of those people that are being, it's just sad, man. It's really, really sad. And to see these videos, it's just, I have to share this with you guys and let you know that let's keep them in our prayers. You know, there's children out there crying. Mexico's so corrupt. You know, that's I think it's one of the most corrupt countries because of the military, what the CIA, what the Jesuits were doing there. It's really, really super dark. And I just, even though everything's on this course to correction, powerful alliance operations to save the world, we still have to go through seeing a lot of these events. And you have to see these events because some of these events are coming to your country, what you're seeing. And I keep telling you that United States, most countries are 2 years behind the United States of what you're going to see inside of the United States. Everybody was laughing at the United States 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Biden being goofy, being stupid, you know, everybody was just laughing. They became weak. Everybody made fun of the United States. I saw this myself in Europe. Now Trump came back, and in 1 year, everybody's in shock. Nobody's not any laughing anymore. They're just kind of like, oh my God, something is happening. Oh my God, this man is crazy. Oh my God, I'm scared. Oh my God, this guy is doing this. Da 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 da. And Trump is moving really quick. The military is trying to move as quick as they can. So that's the update that I want to give you with what's happening in Mexico. It's really huge. Eventually, I'll get a lot of intel, the information of what's happening there. We all kind of expected this, but yes, the United States military was directly involved. The cartels actually know about all of these things. And tomorrow I'll probably get, do a little piece on this story in tomorrow's update. And then I'll put this in there in some videos and kind of what's happening. But we should have a lot more information as all of this is developing inside of Mexico right now. So have your prayers, your thoughts going, and, have that powerful faith, that powerful strength, have that spiritual armor on, that powerful energy, that we get through these powerful events that's shaping in the world to expose the governments, the dark parts of the military, intelligence connected to financial systems that was corrupt, funding these cartels, gangs. This isn't only in Mexico. This is all the way to Romania. This connects to all the way to the different mafias inside of different countries, almost inside of all the European countries, inside of the Netherlands. It's gigantic. There's a dark side of the mafia that's really, really dark. But with that being said, inside of the United States, the mafia, say like 70, 80% of them, Trump is controlling that. Rudy Giuliani has some really, really powerful things on the United States mafia. They have them in order. And they're actually working behind the scenes to kind of facilitate certain things. New York, Chicago, inside of California, they're doing certain things to help behind the scenes that, that the cartels from Mexico moving certain products, certain weapons through New York City, that, that stuff is stopped. There's a lot of things that's being stopped with the trafficking, the sex trade that's happening inside of New York. So many other things, but getting on to another small subject that I wanted to talk until tomorrow about is this Epstein stuff. It's connected to the United States prison systems. And the stuff that I'm looking in the files, Epstein is tracking a lot of people. There are, from the law enforcement agencies to people, they're constantly sending stuff to Epstein about who just got arrested for a killing, for trafficking, whatever it is. They're giving Epstein, like, I don't know if it's daily, but there's a lot of files on people giving Epstein reports, whether it's a Native American that got arrested for murder, for something. They're highly invested in these individuals, and they're giving these reports to Epstein. And it's gigantic, because we're talking about this huge, gigantic cabal through Epstein, connected to prison systems, connected to trying to create, facilitate, almost like these people that are almost militant. They're almost trying to train them into militant, loyal soldiers, say, loyal goons that can be told what to do. And when they come out of prison, they're under control of these different networks and these operations. The Epstein stuff connected to CIA, Jesuits, all this dark stuff. But they're being controlled when they get out of prison, and they're being formulated into a region to where they can control that region, whether it's through terrorist acts, threatening people, killing people, or whether it's through satanic operations. They were using these prison systems for something really dark and nefarious, bringing out those prisoners and then using them for certain operations. This Epstein stuff is gigantic, man. I mean, it's massive. It's gigantic. So this stuff connected to this cartels is dark cannibalism. This is what you're hearing about. It's no longer a conspiracy. And I told you that this is going to come from the United States government. My wire sources are telling me it's going to hit, that it's coming from the government. The adrenaline's going to, this story, it's going to come out, and it's coming, and it's coming. And I told you just a few weeks before, the government's going to bring this out. The government's going to, then I said that about 2026, it's the alien stuff. This is coming out. But people are going to be confused over the alien stuff, disclosure, because they're going to say, oh, it's another cover-up. It's just to create confusion. Oh, it's about this stuff. They're not really doing it. It's not really going to happen. It's just they're trying to create Iran war because they can cover up the Epstein stuff. You're going to hear this everywhere, this talking point. You guys are really informed. Everything is connected to a huge, gigantic collapse of the cabal systems. It's massive, you guys. There is a hand of God. There is this dark, evil energy that exists that's really dark. But there is a hand of God. There is a powerful energy that is helping in the world. And for the first time in history, you're going to see some miraculous events, a golden era. And I'm always trying to give you guys the beautiful side of what's coming, the powerful possibilities. I get excited when I talk about super magnets. This stuff is going to blow your mind on the super magnets. But you guys keep your prayers going. Thank you for tuning in. Get a chance, come over to my other channel, the Sacred Quest podcast. We talk about spirits, aliens, technology. We talk about so much different things that are there that's really relevant to the Great Awakening, information that you're not going to hear anywhere else in the world, even on other channels, whether you listen to Nino, whether you listen to Juan, whatever you're hearing about. The Sacred Quest podcast talks about so many things, even connected to your own vibrations of your DNA that affects the world. and powerful, miraculous ways inside the Great Awakening, and how that's all connected to technology, connected to bending space, connected to bending time. People don't really know it. I give a lot of comms, I give a lot of drops, I give a lot of intel inside of the Sacred Quest podcast. Okay, well, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and Gold members, I hope to edit this video tonight, and I'll try to get it up, but you know, I'm trying my best. If not, I'll be a few hours late until tomorrow. I have a video coming out on this stuff with DARPA, connected to what they're doing, connected to the United. But DARPA is captured. You have to know that. These operations of continuity of government is actually happening. One person you guys should tune into, he talks a lot, but he's an important source. He has information, is Derek Johnson. Go look at him over on YouTube, and you know, he gets mad, he gets angry. He goes, "You guys don't know it. You darn bastards out there. You don't believe in this stuff, but this is happening. I know it's from the military. And you know, I told you this, you know." So he gets mad at the audience, and you don't know who he's angry with. He's an ex-military guy, and he'll give you a lot of comms also. But I know that stuff because it's coming also from the real wires that's underneath inside the web. And these are a lot of communications by different countries, and people's talking about this. You know, they're beginning to figure out that, hey, maybe Trump, maybe this stuff is all military operations. Hey, maybe something's happening. There's an alliance. There's some kind of technology that Trump, Russia, China, there's an alliance happening. There's something going on with the United States. There's some kind of military operations, and people are barely figuring this out. But you guys already knew about all of these things. Okay? You guys have yourself a good night, and always be sure to bless yourself, bless your family. Okay, guys, I love you guys, and thank you for your messages. You guys have yourself a good evening as much as you can, you guys. Bye.